Hey everybody, this is Javi here, and I'm finally back with a brand new movie review. I'm sorry that's been so long, but I've been working two jobs. When I started this, I was working part-time, and then I took on two jobs. I'm happy to say that, well, not really happy, but one job, my part-time job, which was temporary, finally finished. So I'm going to have much more time, and this is also the summer blockbuster season. So there's going to be more movies coming out, and there's already some films which I've seen, which I'm going to be posting videos for. But today we are going to do Iron Man 3, and this is going to be a spoiler-heavy review. So if you haven't seen it and you still want to, you might want to not watch this video or I think that I will be saying exactly when there's going to be spoilers, so you can start watching it, and when I give a spoiler warning, you can just stop it there. All right, so let's get started. I honestly have to say that I have real mixed feelings about this movie. For the most part, it was really fun, entertaining action movie with awesome acting, especially from Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Iron Man. But on the other hand, it had a lot of flaws that don't all come from the infamous twist that the movie has in store. I think the best way to look at Iron Man 3 is that it's a good movie in its own right, as in, when it's not compared to the previous two movies or to the Avengers. But as a sequel, it does have quite a few problems. But before I go into those problems, let me just start off with those things that I really did like. Well, for starters, I thought the acting was great. Robert Downey Jr. was great as always as Tony, as well as Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts. I also thought that Don Cheadle did a much better job here as Jim Rhodes. But in all honesty, I really liked Terrence Howard a lot better. I thought his version of the character had a much more tighter friendship with Tony, and it really showed that his depiction of the character really cared about Tony while still being serious about his job. I don't really get that with Cheadle. I get more of an attempt to be a strict military man and also like a real sort of badass soldier, which Jim Rhodes is. But him and Tony are also really good friends and really care about each other. However, despite that, Cheadle does have one thing over Howard, and he does have great banter with Downey, and just an all-around better sense of humor and also sarcastic wit. But given that Howard only got to have the first movie, we really don't know if he would have gotten to that level himself. But Cheadle did give a much better performance this time. It was also really nice to get to see Tony kick some butt without the Iron Man suit, showing that he doesn't always need to be Iron Man. I love it when we get to see that sort of development with the character, especially after their life has been endangered and they naturally want to learn to handle themselves in all sorts of situations. We also get to see Pepper kick a little bad guy butt herself during the final climax of the film, and even get to have a moment where she gets to wear the Iron Man suit, which I thought was pretty cool. We also got some very nice action scenes with Jim Rhodes. Cheadle did very well with them, but I still think Howard could have done just as well and might have been slightly more believable. I also loved the film's final battle, and this is where we're going to have our first major spoiler. We get to see several Iron Man suits battling it out with several super enhanced humans, and we get to see Tony fight it out both inside and outside the Iron Man suit, which I thought was really, really cool. All right, now we get to the veggies of the movie. Well, I wouldn't call myself a big Iron Man fan, but I've known him since I first saw him in the 90s cartoon series back when I was a kid, which had a pretty awesome opening intro. Uh, and in that cartoon, the main villain was the Mandarin, the evil Chinese terrorist out to rule the world. and wielding 10 power rings, which came from alien technology. Personally, I didn't mind him being just a regular terrorist, despite the fact that Tony's universe already includes demigods, aliens, and other dimensions, and having a villain wielding 10 power rings coming from alien technology really isn't that far fetched. However, I was a bit taken aback to find out that he wasn't even real, which is even more interesting because he was supposed to be the leader of the Ten Rings, and the Ten Rings is the terrorist group who, in the first Iron Man movie, takes Tony hostage. So you're basically saying that the Ten Rings never existed. So you have a real continuity problem there. But at the same time, I really didn't hate it, as I really did get the message that they were sending with it, and I completely uh, agreed with it. But the actual villain that we got, Aldridge Killian, played by Guy Pearce, I just felt was really underwhelming, and it's not what I was expecting. Especially when I had been promised Iron Man's main villain. I probably would have felt better if they just hadn't touched Mandarin, but I guess it really was a no-win situation since lots of fans were wondering when Mandarin would show up, and producers probably didn't think it was a good idea to use a 60s era Yellow Peril villain. So I can understand the no-win situation that they were in. Personally, I would have just made my position clear and just not have put Mandarin in the film. I also felt that Killian had very weak motivation. I mean, Tony shoots him down, and when I mean shoots him down, I mean he shoots down an idea or proposal that he had. He shoots him down many years ago, so he becomes an evil psychotic villain as a result, which I felt was just weak. I'm sure that there was more to it, but that seemed to be the thing that the movie really seemed to want to emphasize. So that's just what stuck. And if there was more to it, then it should have been the focus rather than trying to make it a personal vendetta between Killian and Tony. There was also having Rhodes protecting the country as Iron Patriot, which is fine. But since this is taking place post Avengers, don't we also have Captain America now? I guess the explanation that could be given is that Cap was out seeing the world, as we did see him take off on his motorcycle at the end of Avengers. But in the next Captain America movie, he's going to be working with Shield and the government. So I suppose he's out seeing the world now. But then in Winter Soldier, he's just joined up with Shield. This is definitely something I definitely plan on keeping in mind when Captain America Winter Soldier comes out next year. And I hope it's something, that the filmmakers and the producers and, Marvel Studios keeps in mind and keeps in continuity with. But all in all, not a bad movie. Definitely a good action adventure movie on its own, but it definitely has its problems when put up against the other Iron Man movies and the Avengers movies. However, I do think that this is miles ahead of Iron Man 2, but it does not stand up to the first Iron Man. I think the first Iron Man is the best out of all three Iron Man movies. But if you like Iron Man or if you like the Avengers, then you'll definitely want to check this film out. So that's it for now. My next film review is going to be Star Trek Into Darkness, and until then, peace out.